Hi, I'm Jeff Boone, voice of the Falcons this season. I'm here with Coach Maya Lewis, the head coach of the Falcons, as we do a little preview and you're part of it Football Media Day. We're in preparation for that, and we're going to kind of do a once-over for prepare for the season already. Yeah. So, Coach, how are we doing?
I'm good. Season's almost here, so you know I'm doing real good.
Coming right up upon us. We'll start with talking about last year. Last year, probably not as successful as you wanted it to be. No. Still a good record by any means, but still probably not where you wanted to be. Anything you want to put a post-mortem on last year?
Throw some dirt on it finally?
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, you probably don't get that chance to until the season does begin, because you're only as good as your last game, and our last three didn't go well.
That's true.
You know, we got a dose of humble pie. Mm-hmm. It doesn't taste real well, but and I wrote it in our media guide. You know, we're no exception. Yeah. We're going to deal with the ups and downs, and we're going to have to understand that when you don't perform like you should or like you feel you should, you know, it hurts, but you got to move on. And we have, and you know, I feel like we've lived the old adage that it's harder to stay on top than it is to get there. And frankly, we're just tired of living it the last 2 years. We need to do something about it. But by the same token, I don't want us to come into this season talking about championships. Sure. We haven't earned that right yet. And I think to some degree that's what happened in 2010. We began as a football family to rest on our laurels a little bit. You know, Joe, a year ago we were getting rings. A year before that, rings. Well, we didn't pay the price. That's on me. That's on one guy. That's how I look at it. My coaches argue with me. Lots of folks, but hey, that's how I look at it. I didn't get the job done, therefore our football family didn't, and we'll set about fixing that for 2011.
Well, the ups and downs of 2010 behind us. Look forward to 2011. Yeah. This season, you're going to replace a couple big offensive components, two great wide receivers that are gone. How are you guys going about fixing that?
Well, you know, we brought in some guys at semester. But number one, a guy like Mike Hyde and Doug Pierce, those two guys, you can't replace those guys. You know, they're an exception for us to have at our level. That's been no secret. 6'5", 6'6", guys well over 200 pounds that can run, jump, and do all the things that you see. Here it is for me. Linemen are gifted. Okay, linemen are gifted. These guys are, well, I should say this, linemen are skilled, because that's exactly how people look at these skilled positions. Sure. Well, linemen to me are skilled. Oh, yeah. The gifted guys are the ones that can jump high, run fast, do things that, you know, fat guys can't. But we brought in James Kelly, transfer from Emporia State. Exceptionally talented young man. Just learning curve. That's all he's battling, is, you know, being in the spring, you know, maybe what we call black, they've been calling blue, so to speak. And when he gets stuff down that way, he'll be fine. And he showed a lot this spring. Horace Carter, a transfer, counting on him. But, you know, a guy like Brandon Searle now that's a sophomore, pushed into some action last year by design. But, you know, we're careful with freshmen. Now it's his time. He's got to step up. He's a collegiate boy. They know how to win there, won a state title. So we feel good with what's on the shelf. But, again, to replace a Pierce and a Hyde, it's not easy, so you just say we're moving on. Because we've had to replace very good players in the past.
Oh, yeah. Always is part of the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Well, just stay on the offensive side. You are returning quarterback and a great running back there.
Well, the entire backfield is intact with depth. I mean, Jamie Bristow's back at quarterback. You know, he had a pretty good first year. I use a different term. I won't use that now. But he had a pretty good first year as a starter. But he'll have a better second season as a starter. But Quentin Benning, Jaron Trotter, Frank Miles, guys like that are back and with the experience that they have, I mean, that's priceless. We need that in a transition from being able to get the ball vertically down the field, throwing it, to probably getting back to what we need to be doing more anyway, which is running the football. And I know my critics are out there. I just don't care. We're going to run the ball as long as I'm here. And with that kind of stable of backs, and we sprinkled in some newcomers that I think will turn a few heads. The Tevin Pratt kid out of Wichita North slid under everybody's radar. And I'm telling you, it'll bring up, he'll remind us of Aaron Howe from a few years back. Yeah. The All-American that led the country in rushing. He has that type of shake and that type of ability. So we're excited about our backfield. We needed that.
Well, that's great. Now switch over. Let's talk about the other side of the ball. What's your defense looking like?
9 starters are back. but we did not perform well. You know, there's no arguing to it. And Coach Welch knows this isn't me taking cheap shots. Trust me, if we brought him in here, he'd elaborate. You'd have to edit quite a bit. But bottom line is, we know we didn't live up to Falcon football on the defensive side. We did have that physicality at times. We weren't consistent in the secondary. And if those guys in the rear with the gear, more or less, the back four, aren't on the same page, then regardless, it doesn't matter what the front seven are getting done for you. But I know that Coach Lawler, Morris Lawler, just suffered greatly with our growing pains back there. And now we should be able to reap some benefits. We brought in some junior college kids at term, exceptionally talented kids for our level and any level. They're coming from Division II schools and looking for a better football life, so to speak. And so we're happy to open our arms and welcome them, and we feel good about the secondary. Linebackers, Jesse Jurdy, pound for pound, is the best defensive player in the league. I don't trot him out. We'll talk about him, but Jesse is, in my opinion. He has been a stellar performer ever since he came here. He's a senior now. Can't believe it. Up front, we lose Big Blake. You know, Blake Gordon, you know, good night. People think he's been here as long as we've been coaching, but Blake did graduate, so that's a little bit of a void in the middle, in the two-tech area. But Dexter Davis is back, Sean Ananasso. I mean, there's guys that have, with great experience, that are back for us coming off the edge. And I know our defensive mentality is alignment first and then run like crazy to the football. And we won't lose that. In fact, we'll gain that back again.
Well, any of the players that Falcons fans should be looking out for, if they're going to really, you think you're ready to just kind of break through this season?
Well, the thing I want to bring up is the fact that we're a veteran in the O-line. You know, I didn't get to that point when we were talking earlier, but we returned 4 starters with a 5th part-time guy.
That's great.
So we're veteran up front. Keaton Kendall's one of the best offensive linemen in the country, small college. I'd put him up even higher than that, just glad he's here. But that's a veteran group in our tight ends. Cody Butts is back, all-conference performer. Josh Womack. I mean, these are guys that are 6'5", 255 pounds, respectfully, and can run. And so they're a big part. You know, the tight end isn't a glorified O lineman in our scheme, so we need those guys to play. But you know, as a whole, you know, I think special teams we're going to be consistent because we're going to use starters. And I just feel like as long as I guess the best way to describe it is guarded optimism. I know we're going to have some newcomers break through that'll have some people going, where'd you get him? Hopefully it's the opposing coaches.
Always.
But bottom line is I feel real strong that we'll rebound from a substandard season.
Well,
I really do.
And that season opener, you start with first 2 on the road. It's going to be a little bit of a, you kind of want to have the home cooking early on, but
sure.
You got to start the first couple on the road. Any thoughts about those games?
Well, we'll return to one of the scenes of the crime. You know, we'll go back to the University of St. Mary. Not taking anything away from Lance and Henson and his program, but we get to go back. I'm glad we're going back.
Start
up there to start, you know, and let's get this right. And but then after that, we go clear down to Southern Nazarene. Mike Cochran's done a heck of a job down there. They're moving to Division II, so it'll be a firm test on the road. And we want to play quality opponents early to find out where we're at.
Exactly.
And then it doesn't get much easier coming home with Max standing there. So, you know, this is the test. That's the fire line we'll have to walk. But I think we'll invite that opportunity.
Well, that's the way it works. So I think you guys are ready. You're reloaded, ready to hit the 2011 campaign.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts?
Roll Falcons, roll.
There we go. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Jeff. Thank you.
Well, I hope you all have enjoyed that. Remember, you can watch every Falcons game this season through the internet. Make sure you log on to the Falcons website so you can get to log in and get watching not miss a single play. And you know, if you're around the area, make sure you come into Wichita to check them out. Thanks.